Now tell me, if you see that badge there on the front, what would you think this car is? Well, normally I would tell you it's a Mercedes-Benz S-Class, whereas in fact, this is the Mercedes-Benz V-Class. Now, I've been a passenger in one of these many, many times. However, this has been my first opportunity to actually live with one for the past week. So here is my full review of the Mercedes-Benz V-Class in 2025, going on 2026. Now, when I used to work for a dealer years ago, I used to say there were two types of people who would buy a car like this. And either be a chauffeur, premium taxi company doing airport runs or something similar, or whether you have a family which is expanding somewhat and you just need as much space as possible. In fact, I'm pretty sure the boot liter capacity of this is the largest I've ever featured on my channel. Like, this can genuinely deliver the most space while keeping that premium tick box on the inside as well, which is pretty good. Now, I should add, this is not to be confused with Mercedes-Benz commercial cars, because this really starts to almost like cross that line, because it is very much a van shape. But no, this is sold under Mercedes passenger cars, so very much in a typical dealership, but it's not to be confused with a Viano or a Vito or something similar, or even those box vans. Those are specifically commercial cars, and you will see the ultimate difference to this on the inside. Basically, the inside doesn't look like a van. It looks literally like a just one of Mercedes-Benz's passenger cars. Now, I'm not going to lie, to the untrained eye, it literally just looks the same at first glance. It's only until you look slightly closer you'll see some facelift elements which have changed. We've already seen the badge. That's obviously quite new, because that's not ever been found on the V-Class before, unless you retrofitted one. But the grille is also slightly different, very much taking inspiration from the S-Class, aiming at that kind of premium segment. But then the inside has had loads of upgrades as well. Dual widescreen displays. I mean, this is of course what it used to look like with this iPad style thing, but now the screens are a lot more integrated. But I guess the concept was, why change what was working? If you need all that practicality, why change it so much? And of course, this is a very, very big car, which I wanted to touch on some of the dimensions. Now, dimensions-wise, Mercedes-Benz has held various different lengths of Mercedes-Benz V-Class, and they still do today. So there's a long variant and an extra long variant. Now, the one I have here is extra long, so it is well over 5 meters, so it's quite a long car. But as I said, all that practicality goes on the inside, which, if you're after that, really, really good. Now, Mercedes also sell a couple of different trims. Now, I won't go through them in complete detail just because it can vary over time, but here's a brief rundown. Basically, there's a premium package, and then there's also an exclusive package. Now, the one I have here, it's a V300D, and of course it does have that exclusive package, which then of course brings me neatly onto the price. Now, the starting price of a Mercedes-Benz V-Class in the UK, correct at the time of recording, is £77,000, which is up there for sure. More worryingly, the one I have here on test is £90,000. And this isn't even top spec. You can actually add an additional package, which Mercedes call the luxury 6 seats package. That basically transforms the 2 middle seats there and just turns them almost like into S-Class seats. So by that point, when you've, potentially spec'd a few different things on this car, and if you were looking at that, you may as well just go for an S-Class. But also that does determine a point whether you want extra seats, and certainly loads of storage, all that ultra premium experience that an S-Class would deliver. So food for thought. Now, in case you're wondering, because this is a very long car, here are the dimensions for the long variant and the extra long variant. As I mentioned, I have extra long on test today. Okay, I've been harping on about the practicality and the storage of this car. Let's show you it. So, number one, the tailgate can open just like this. So, huge amount of space, massive tailgate opening. As you can see, loads of space here. But a quick note on the tailgate, and I always like to show this off when I've shown this before, is if you imagine a car is parked right here, you won't be able to open that like that. So Mercedes-Benz have thought of that, and they've added a split tailgate. So then you can grab stuff out of here, put stuff in without affecting, if you're parked in a supermarket car park and there's a car right there. So pretty clever that you can do that just in case. Now, when it comes to storage on the inside of here, it's huge, absolutely massive. Now, the seating configuration layout at the moment is obviously 2 at the front, 2 in the middle, and then 3 on the back row here. Now, if you pay close attention to the floor here, you'll notice that there are rails down the almost entire length of the car, and you can actually adjust these seats. And you might be thinking, well, that's all well and good. What's the storage capacity like? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's over 5,000 litres. 5,000 litres. So obviously, I assume that's with the seats taken out, but that's insane. And I haven't even mentioned about the doors on the side, which are electric. Yeah, they're electric on both sides, which is quite good. And you can even do it off the key, which when you do it off the key, it opens up the left side, which is closest to the curb, which I think is a nice touch. But yeah, I mean, legroom, that's set up for my driving position. This is me sat behind myself. There's loads of legroom. It's brilliant in this car because it's just so practical. Flat floor as well. As you can see, the rails even come straight up to here. So there's so much configuration that you can do on the inside. It's just that the seats are quite heavy. Speaking of, if you do want to get into the back, let me show you, because you can actually adjust the seat in a couple of different ways quite easily without taking it out. So to get into the third row, there's 2 things, or 2 adjustments, without obviously taking the seat out. So you can lift this lever up here, which will fold this seat down, and that gives you a bit of room to get in. Or what you can do is take it a step further and pull one of these levers, which folds the seat up entirely like this. Then you have all this room to get in. Then to put it back, you just push down really hard, it'll lock back in place. Nice and easy. Now again, this is what it's like on the third row with me sat in the middle. So loads of legroom. In fact, positioned properly, there's loads of legroom here. Now, in case you're wondering what's in the back, cup holders, these actually do come out quite easily, so whether you want to have them in or not, but yeah, that's on the inside like that. It just slots in there, so only cheapy plastic, but useful to have cup holders. But then the other thing, there's 12-volt sockets either side. So disappointing there's no USB-C ports or USB ports or anything, but at least there are 12-volt sockets there which allow you to buy one of those like things on Amazon or something, so it's like a 12-volt to USB or USB-C, and you can get 2 there, so you could actually put in 4 ports in the back. So not the end of the world, they're only like £5–10, but I think personally it would have been nice to have like dedicated ports in the back here, but at least it gives you the option, because then you can put like in a cooler or something for those long road trips, put it in the middle, so it gives you a bit of flexibility, it being a 12-volt socket. One other very quick thing I thought I should add and just make it clear for everyone, here are the ISOFIX points for these 2 seats, and of course there are some in the rear as well, but notice the seat on the end, that does not have ISOFIX anchor points for child seats. I'm not sure why, but just thought I'd point it out that there are 4 here, just not that end seat. So those 2, and then those 2. Okay guys, so up front, well, as I mentioned, I think this is one of the huge selling points of V-Class versus the commercial vehicles, as I mentioned at the start with Viano, Vito. I have a friend actually who has, I think it's a Vito, I think it's a Mercedes-Benz Vito. It is very much a van on the inside, whereas the V-Class is very much in the passenger kind of segment. And you can see that these are screens like taken straight from the Mercedes GLE or GLS. They're quite big, they're a bit bigger than the one in my car, and just all neatly integrated into the dashboard. It just looks really nice. It's a very premium upfront interior for what is essentially a van. So let's have a look at build quality. So we have leather here, leather there. There's a bit of scratchy plastic there, but your hand isn't really going to go on that. And then big door pockets down here, and that is very much plastic down there. Of course, we have armrests, which are adjustable, so that's quite nice. Loads of storage here, I guess. I'm not sure what you put here, but that is otherwise good. The plastics are also down here as well, so it seems that there's a lot of plastics taken from vans kind of further down. This is very similar to the Mercedes-Benz Marco Polo, as they are virtually the same. And then under here, leather there. So yeah, it is quite well kind of put together for a van, should I say, because I have been in a few vans before that have a Mercedes-Benz logo on, and it's shocking. It's just, some of them still, even to this day, don't have aircon, which is mind-boggling. But yeah, all the quality of materials, even the button switches, they've got a nice clicky feel to them as well. So yeah, I like it. Speaking of, let's go through this multimedia system. So this is what Mercedes call MBUX. Everything you see here is everything you need to use. So sat-nav, all built in, type in where you want to go. So it is just simple. That's what I quite like about it. It's even got Google POIs built in. And then if you want to cancel it or mute it just there, unmute it there.
Let's proceed to the highlighted route.
And finish. Oh, and speaking of, there is a voice assistant in here as well, and you can summon this voice assistant at any time, providing you've got it enabled, simply by saying, "Hey Mercedes,
how can I help?"
This voice assistant actually allows you to do a multitude of different things. Now it depends what you connect to it as well, because you can even have Apple Music in the car natively on the Mercedes multimedia system, or Spotify. You can as well, if you want to, even link up your Philips Hue lights and have your lights come on with certain commands. So, I don't know, maybe you have a long driveway or something and want to give a command to a light to come on your driveway somewhere. You can program that in the car, which I think is quite cool. Sadly, that's not from experience. Our driveway is not that big. It's very small. Now, if you're not a fan of using the inbuilt multimedia system, of course, as with pretty much every car these days, there's wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto as well. And of course, there's radio on here as well, so swipe across to the one that you want, and the one there is the one that's playing. And you'll notice as well, there's loads of ambient lighting everywhere, and all of that is adjustable in here, various different colours to just give accents around the car, around the screen here, very much like the Mercedes GLE and GLS. So yeah, pretty similar sort of setup to other Mercedes-Benz passenger cars. One thing that is uniquely different though, is this, the rear view mirror. Of course, this being a very, very long car, and certainly with the headrest that's here at the moment that you can see, it's not easy to see, for example, the car behind, if you're travelling on the road, and of course for parking as well. And yes, there is a reversing camera and there's 360-degree cameras, but Mercedes-Benz have added this. And you know this thing, the thing you flick underneath so you can see easier between, you know, night and day. There's a screen built in. How cool is that? Now this is actually running, from the looks of it, at 60 frames per second or higher, which is really good. That's the frame rate of like cameras. And the reason why you want a good frame rate is because otherwise it wouldn't look quite right. I think you need a very high refresh rate or frame rate for a screen like this. But yeah, it's really cool. There's even buttons here to adjust the brightness for one, in case it's too bright. And you can even adjust the camera placement at the back. Now I've looked for this camera, I actually can't find it anywhere. I'm assuming it's built into that thing over there at the back, but I can't see it on the outside. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool. Flick on, mirror, screen, like that. Now the other thing I want to point out as well is the steering wheel. Now I've reviewed many Mercedes-Benz on my channel, and this steering wheel is no different. It does have a lot of touch elements, and I do appreciate the fact that they are segregated by these lines here, so you kind of sort of know what thing you're doing, but they're all touch. They're not buttons, so it can be in some instances easy to swipe something by accident. So just something to factor in. Steering wheel is all touch, but at least pretty much everything else has buttons. So climate control, the touchpad here, other buttons to control the screen. But yeah, the steering wheel is touch, so just something to factor in. Okay, up next, we're going to take this out on the road, let you know what engines available and what it's like to drive. Okay guys, engines for the V-Class. So in the UK there is a V220D and a V300D. Now as you've already seen, this is the V300D. It's a little bit quicker, it's around I think it's around 8 seconds, 0 to 62, whereas the other ones are of course a little bit slower. However, I'm just comparing it with the price point and versus an S-Class. An S-Class is much quieter. Now, admittedly, I'm just cruising speeds at the moment on a fairly bumpy road around 40 miles an hour, and you can't hear it, but I'm talking like if you accelerate hard, you will definitely hear it, whereas in an S-Class, it is much more insulated and much quieter. So let's be honest, are you going to be flooring it everywhere in both cars? No, absolutely not. But it's just something I'm pointing out, that if you do floor it, which we'll hear in a minute, it is a little bit noisier. Now I should also add, there is an electric version of this car as well, called an EQV. Now I have featured it on my channel once before, but I honestly haven't reviewed it again, because I don't know how interested people would be to see it. So, I mean, let me know in the comments below if you want me to review an EQV in 2025 going on 2026. But in case you're interested right now, the range of that car is around about 222 miles, which in 2025 isn't great. But there again, look at the shape of the car. It is a van kind of style, so it's not going to excel in areas of, I was about to say fuel economy, electric range and that sort of thing, so just because of its shape. But yeah, the gearbox is nice and smooth. Of course, there are different drive modes. You've got a manual mode, comfort mode, and sport mode. I don't see an eco mode. I'm just assuming that Mercedes have just opted that comfort is the eco mode. There's not even the individual mode, which is, I find a bit odd compared to other Mercedes. But yeah, 3 modes there: manual, comfort, and sport. Now, just on our way to the motorway bit, one thing I wanted to point out was actually the digital screen mirror here, which actually does take a bit of getting used to, because I've had it on the screen for a while, but I'll tell you one thing that I didn't anticipate with it is your muscle memory almost for your eye, because normally when you're driving it's a mirror up here in the centre mirror, and you look at it and your eyes instinctively focus far away, but of course if it's a screen your eyes need to focus close. So I almost find myself, when I'm looking at the digital screen here, I go up and my eyes go a bit funny because my eyes are trying to focus far away when I actually need to focus up close because it's a screen. Something I thought I'd just mention, it's actually quite funny, but I'm sure I would get used to it pretty quickly if I owned a car with a digital screen. But actually, just looking at the car behind right now, it looks like it's in my car because it's so close. But yeah, just thought I'd mention it because the digital screen up there does take a little bit of getting used to, where your eyes focusing close and far, but the clarity is brilliant. I don't know why all cars of this length, even like Mercedes-Benz S-Classes, don't have something like that, because that just makes seeing behind just so much easier. Now, one note on the way this car rides. Now, I have to be honest, this is not S-Class ride. An S-Class ride is Mercedes-Benz's best. It is up there. Like, as in, I'm pretty sure BMW and Audi with their cars try and beat the S-Class for comfort every few years when they bring out a new model, because the S-Class is just so good. And the fact that this car is around that sort of same price, I mean, yeah, it's not an S-Class ride. It's very nice. I'm not gonna, put the ride quality down on this. It's actually eating up the bumps, because it's quite a bumpy road. It's eating up the bumps actually quite well on this. Now, this being the fastest V-Class that Mercedes-Benz sell, we'll show you now what it's like joining a dual carriageway with a slight incline. So foot to the floor. Yeah, it's definitely noisier than an S-Class. And I appreciate this is 2 litre, whereas S-Classes are typically 3 litre. So yeah, when you're at motorway speeds, it's actually quite well insulated in here. It's despite its size, I expected the wind noise to be a little bit greater. But yeah, it's actually quite well insulated in here. And I don't think the windows even have double glazing either, which is quite surprising. And it's a little bit windy today, actually. So it's a good test. But yeah, I'm quite impressed with it. For transporting that many people in a luxurious MPV, it's pretty good. However, this would not be a review without some pros and cons, so here's the things I do like and the things I don't like. Okay guys, pros and cons. So let's start first with the things that I do like. So despite the van look on the outside, it's actually quite luxurious on the inside for this styled car anyway. So we'll get on to the price in just a second. But yeah, in terms of the design here up front, as I said, I've got a friend who has a Mercedes-Benz van, and that is very much a van up front. There's a lot of plastics in certain places. You don't get these screen setups. And yeah, just things that you would expect to be standard in 2025 aren't. Whereas on this, you get a lot of gear. I mean, look at this extensive list on the brochures. that you get standard, it's up there. There's a lot of stuff. And then of course the other pro is all the passenger comfort. Me being really tall and 6'2" with very long legs, I can sit in each individual seat and carry all of my camera gear in multiple places. And yes, I appreciate this is very much like a van design and van size, but yeah, I can fit full size adults in every single seat with loads of storage to spare. And as well, as a passenger, I've been picked up in the airport a couple of times, and sometimes it's a random car, sometimes it's a Volkswagen, sometimes it's a Mercedes V-Class, and sometimes it's a Mercedes S-Class. Sometimes I wish it's a Mercedes S-Class every time, but sometimes it's a Mercedes V-Class. And I'm always happy because there's loads of space. I can get my laptop out and actually do some work because there's just so much space in here. So yeah, from experience as a passenger and driver, it's pretty good. Then we get on to some of the cons. Now, I will say there are still some van elements on the inside in here, meaning cheaper plastics, but they aren't typically things that you're going to touch every single day. Most of that is towards the rear, and of course you can kit out the rear seats here with you know, more luxurious seats. And I have seen some crazy van customizations and Mercedes V-Class customizations with stars in the ceiling and partition walls and Apple TVs put in, screens. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Volkswagen scene, the transport scene, where people mod and customize their cars. So you can customize the interiors of these to be even more luxurious. But as kind of a stock car, there are still some plastics in some areas, but overall the passenger comfort is pretty good. The other thing as well, the EV version range in 2025 is shocking. Despite the battery actually having 100 kilowatt hours, it's like 110 or 108 or something, the range being only just over 200 is not very good at all, but maybe I could review that in another video or something. And then the other thing, of course, the seats. You can, of course, customize the seat layout in here, but make sure you get some help. Don't move them by yourself because you could and will hurt yourself because they're so heavy. Which I said is a good thing for kind of, you know, being anchored down to the floor when you're driving, but yeah, they're very heavy, so just watch out. But yes, there we go guys, that concludes this week's video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Huge shout out to Mercedes-Benz UK for supplying this car for the week so I could test it. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, see you then.